Okay. Oh, now we can do it. Okay. It says we are live. And yet on my iPad, it says we're still waiting. All right. It's working. Nice. Oh, hi, Kate Winnie. Oh, this is exciting. Okay, sweet. It's lagging on the actual thing, or it's lagging like...
Yeah, it's like 30 seconds to a minute delayed.
Okay, yeah. No, that's normal. Well, people are going to have to sit, and so I'm going to go ahead and get started so that people don't have to sit through too much of this. All right. Welcome, everyone. We are the Stand-Up Comedy Club. I am Omani. I am the president of this club. Thank you all so much for coming to this totally normal and precedented event. We have meetings every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Over Zoom. If you would like to become a member of our club or follow us on social media, you can look us up on campus groups. We have a Twitter and we have a Twitter, a Facebook, and a TikTok, which are all at Stand Up JHU. We've got all our performers here on a call so that we're not, just simply telling jokes into the void. I will be glancing at the live stream chat, but there's like a huge delay, so it's mainly for you guys to interact with each other. Just a small note, I do have to do this for safety. Please take this time to locate your nearest exit in case of a fire. If you're in an apartment, this could be a fire escape. If you're at home with your parents, it could be nowhere. If we have class together, some of you might not recognize me, so let me help you out. It's me, Amani with an A. That disembodied voice who's always bringing up why science is racist, but in a fiction writing course. People call our generation snowflakes, which is kind of a weird insult if you ask me. Like, you're saying we're beautiful and unique and no two of us are alike. And yeah, if there's a lot of snowflakes at a school, some things are going to get canceled. And we do tend to upset people in the South sometimes. I was born in the South, and surprise, surprise, I come from a religious family. I do enjoy church, but I feel like Christianity's priorities are a little out of order, and I don't just mean making church services longer than the average school day. Like, look at the 10 Commandments, for example. There's some good stuff in there, but I think the order is a little off. Like, God sat Moses down and started talking like he was in an infomercial. Like, I'm going to give you 10 things to become a perfect human being. Just do these 10 things and you'll get eternal life in the cloud kingdom from Adventure Time. But if you look at the actual list, it makes no sense. Like, number 1, you shall have no other gods before me. Number 2, you shall never take my name in vain. Okay, those are just preferences. God might as well have told us to, like, what temperature he likes to keep the earth at, as if we'd ever be able to screw that up. Number 3, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. What does that even mean? If I wake up 6 months into a pandemic and think it's Saturday instead of Sunday, I'm going to hell. Number 4, honor your father and mother. Yes, me and every other humanities major is eternally grateful for this one. Okay, so we're 5 commandments in, and we've established how children should treat their parents. You think they would have thrown something in there about how adults should treat children, maybe even adults in the church. But no, they just wrote some vague ideas about discipline and men shouldn't sleep with young boys. It's a good thing no one ever took that out of context or like translated incorrectly. It is no wonder God sent his son to die on a freaking cross. He is a terrible father. Speaking of the Bible, I think we praise the story of David and Goliath way too much. First of all, Goliath, unarmed. David, on the other hand, he had a slingshot. That is the 500 BC equivalent of an AK-47. And have we ever asked ourselves why people perceived Goliath as a threat? Were there stone tablets circulating the next day claiming Goliath was no angel? I bet David even got qualified immunity for cutting off Goliath's head afterwards. I don't care about your second commandment rights. The Israelites needed some serious slingshot control. But according to Joe Biden, David should have just shot Goliath in the leg. So the other morning, I got an Amber Alert at 4 a.m. because I guess that's when we're kidnapping kids now. I mean, there's no school to grab them from anymore, so I guess the middle of the night is optimal. The kids been heavily sedated by dinner and Doc McStuffins. Their parents are asleep after struggling to explain for the millionth time, you cannot swap masks with your friends at the playground. There's just one problem with kidnapping kids in the middle of the night. The car seat. I mean, no child kidnapper leaves the house without a Graco, but do you know how hard it is to buckle those plastic straps in broad daylight? Now imagine it's 4 a.m., the kid's asleep, so they're useless. You go to turn on the car light, and you remember it's been burned out for 7 months, and you've never bothered to replace it. And it's almost November. That kid's probably got a puffy jacket or at least a vest that makes you feel like you're trying to strap a cummerbund on the Michelin Man. This pandemic has led to some dangerous levels of screen time for me. Like, have you ever watched so much TV that you start to think you might actually have moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis? I am 21 years old, and I am terrified that I have moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis. I don't know what rheumatoid arthritis is, but I'm constantly worried that I have a moderate to severe case of it. Okay, those are all of my jokes. Our next comedian is coming to us from Baltimore. Most of our comedians are in Baltimore, so instead of just saying Baltimore 100 times, I'm going to tell you which street they're on. So coming to us from St. Paul Street is Natalie.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy, Baby Yoda. I'm just joking. I'm not Baby Yoda. So, hey, everyone. My name is Natalie, and I'm a Buddhist. But more importantly, I'm a grad student. A master's program is pretty different from undergrad. Your classes are harder. Your classmates are older. Your professors have real jobs. But the biggest adjustment for me has been now everyone assumes I'm a Chinese international student. And I gotta tell you, I have no idea why anyone would possibly think that. Yesterday, I was at a career center event, and the career coach asked for a volunteer to write the employer a thank you email. So she said, I'm looking for native English speakers only. So naturally, I raised my hand, and immediately on the beat, she goes, again, I said I'm looking for native English speakers only. Another fun fact about me, I'm half Japanese on my dad's side. And I didn't even know until a few years ago because my dad didn't find out until then. For context, China and Japan fought each other in World War II, so things are still a bit chilly today. So this was a huge secret on my dad's side. And because my parents divorced when I was little, my mom didn't find out until this summer when I finally told her. And if you're wondering what that conversation was like, here's how it went. Okay. Mom, I need to tell you something. I've been keeping a secret a long time. I'm Japanese. What? I don't understand. All your life you've been Chinese, and now you're suddenly Japanese? No, I've known for 4 years now, but I was always afraid to tell you. But I raised you Chinese. Chinese parents don't have Japanese kids. It's not natural. Mom, this has nothing to do with how you raised me. Nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to change. Are you going to change your name now? Am I going to have to start calling you by your Japanese name? Mom, I was born this way. This is how I've always been. This is who I am. Is this because I let you watch anime as a kid? I knew I shouldn't have let you hang out with your weeb friends. Hey, me being Japanese has nothing to do with my friends being virgins. Speaking of virgins, I'm from the Bay Area. Any Californians in the house? Click your Zoom, raise your Zoom hands. So lately, I've been questioning whether any of my actions are going to come back to bite me in the butt, but And that's a little odd because I've never really been a religious person before. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I am a Californian after all. And yes, we do engage in a lot of sinful activities like polyamory and sodomy and buying essential oils. A pastor once told me that my state was going to burn in the fires of hell. At the time, I was like, that's bullshit. And now I'm like, huh, I am actually burning in the fucking fires of hell. So I'm going to take these wildfires as a divine hint that I should return my scented candle from Goop. I'm going to be a clean Christian from now on. And step one is to stop smelling Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina. The real reason I consider myself a true Californian is because, like my home state, I too am suffering from a prolonged dry spell. This is the longest I've gone without having sex, besides my entire life, of course. So for those of you, crap, I forgot. So the love lives of millions of college girls have been reduced to fangirling over Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, let's just take a moment to acknowledge how quarantine has made us uncomfortably thirsty for angsty teenagers with anger management issues. And while we're on the topic of angry men with anger management issues, let's talk about incels. So for those of you who don't know what incel means, incel stands for involuntary celibate, and they're an online community of lonely, self-loathing potential school shooters. And I've been wondering lately, are incels having an identity crisis right now? Because what used to make them special was the fact that they could never get laid. But now none of us are getting laid. But it doesn't have to be all bad. Listen, if you're an incel watching this, here's my proposition to you. The pandemic is actually helping you. Because before, you were just a bunch of raging sexist shut-ins who had to take your moms to prom because you couldn't get laid. But now you're a bunch of raging sexist shut-ins who had to take your moms to prom, and you're purposely not getting laid to help society. You're like Mahatma Gandhi if Gandhi spent half his day peddling QAnon stories on 4chan. If you've noticed me coughing throughout the show, please don't be alarmed. I don't have COVID. I have HPV. The real reason I cough is because that's my nervous tick. And it is by far the worst nervous tick to have during a fucking pandemic. Like last week, I had to go to the DMV, and the DMV throws out anyone who shows COVID symptoms. So, of course, this freaks me out, and I start to show COVID symptoms. The authorities noticed me, and they came over to throw me out. So I had to explain to them, officers, I promise you, I don't have COVID. I just cough because I get nervous, and I get nervous because I've been stealing cars. That is the end of my set. Remember to click like and subscribe. Baby Yoda out.
Give it up one more time for Natalie. Thank you so much to the child, to Baby Yoda. Our next comedian is coming all the way from West University Parkway. Please welcome Tejasvi.
Hey guys, I'm Tejasvi. Before I start, I know what you're thinking. Why am I wearing a blue floral shirt? I guess I should also let you know that I don't normally have blue hair. It's kind of poofy like this because I started using Pantene's new volumizing conditioner, and it's blue because I dyed it blue. Now that school is online, I've started looking more into different online educational resources. The most useful one I found is called Netflix. Seriously though, I wanted to improve my Spanish, so I started watching this Spanish show called Money Heist, which has really furthered my career interest in being a translator for bank robbers. I mean, it makes sense though. If you want to prove yourself as the elite bank robber, you need to have an international presence. Imagine there's no translator, the bank robbers enter. Todos ustedes se bajan al suelo. Oh my God. Okay. Vete a freír asparagus. Geez, someone's really angry that Andrew Jackson's being replaced on the $20 bill. Todos bajen. Wow, he's kind of edgy. I like that. But if I were there, it would go a lot smoother. Todos ustedes se bajan al suelo. Okay, guys. He's robbing the bank and he wants you to get down, but he means it respectfully. He used the usted form. Vete a freír asparagus. Okay, this one's a bit tricky, but he wants you to go and fry asparagus. I know it's not like that intimidating in English, but in Spanish, I promise, it means like you better get the F out of here or I'm going to stab your eyes out with some severely underrated vegetables. Todos bajen. Okay, guys, this time he used a mandato. That means command tense, so you probably really should get down. And they must have really liked my services because next thing you know, I was translating for the bank robbers in jail. So back to my student life, I forced myself to stay up till 4 a.m. on Saturday binging Money Heist because I'm a really dedicated student. In fact, my friends asked me if I wanted to go to a socially distant gathering, but I was like, sorry guys, I have a test coming up. It's the season finale. And I finished the show and I really thought I was done with the binging and could move on with my life. But that's where I was mistaken. Because then I went on YouTube and I watched a cast interview and one of the actors was really funny and cute. So I looked him up on Instagram. But then I saw lots of pictures with the same girl, which was really sus. And then I looked her up on Reddit and I saw some legit theories about her being half mermaid. And then I had this sudden impulse to buy a trident. But it seems like those are illegal in the US, so I had to settle for an AR-15 from Walmart. I guess Google knows everything I search because I signed away all my privacy rights when I was 11. And I think Google thought I was like this Latin drug lord because then on YouTube, I started seeing trailers for Narcos all of a sudden. So obviously I had to watch the trailer. And then I went on Netflix and I watched the first episode. And then without my consent, Netflix autoplayed the second and third. And so that's how I got my start as the world's premier Spanish translator for criminal activity. Another thing I've gotten really into recently is Broadway musicals. I found this really interesting, like underground alternative punk rock musical. It's called Hamilton. Anyone else? Yeah, it's probably just me. And it really inspired me. I started training really hard. I joined the theater club. I started quoting Shakespeare randomly. I even started singing in the shower. Don't get me wrong. I don't actually want to be on Broadway. I just want to be in Lin-Manuel Miranda's Circle of Friends. I mean, he's got a lot of power. Maybe he could write a role for me as the first Indian Disney princess, which is the dumbest way to be someone's friend. You know how hard it is to get on freaking Broadway? You have to sing, dance, act. Most importantly, you have to be white. And as hard as I try, I can't dance. There are much easier ways to be someone's friend. I could just casually run into him as he walks his dog to Bio every morning past the Starbucks on West 34th, or as he's picking up soap and toilet paper for his sons Sebastian and Francisco at the Target on 1158 North 22nd. My mom called me up the other night with some important questions. She asked, how are they still jailing people for drugs? I thought that was legal now. Mom, that's weed. Don't worry, there's still plenty of other illegal drugs out there. There's cocaine, there's ecstasy, there's LSD, there's NPR, there's crocodile, there's glue if used incorrectly, heroin if used correctly, there's unicorn draught, there's ambrosia, there's cattywampus, there's scopolamine, there's kofifi, there's rip harambe, there's bath salts, there's rubber duckies, there's Stilton cheese, there's cream of tartar. I told her I learned this in organic chemistry lab, but I actually learned it from my virtual education series on the economics of manufacturing stimulants called Narcos. Thanks, guys.
Give it up one more time for Tejasvi. Thank you so much. Our next comedian is a junior who is coming to us all the way from Oakenshire Place. Please welcome Kira.
Hi guys, I'm Kira. Hope you are all doing good in the virtual world here. You know, Zoom University, it's got me missing some things from in-person school. So I've been doing some stuff to try and make it feel real again. Like I'll put all of my stuff into my backpack and put it on and walk around my neighborhood a bit just to maintain my scoliosis. I also like to set my alarm for 9:01 which is a minute after class starts, just so that I wake up and have to frantically log on to Zoom. Gives you that just a little late for class energy. On days I have a test, I like to pretend like it's in Olin Hall, which if you don't know, it's somewhere in the middle of the woods behind campus. So what I do to simulate this is I give my laptop to my roommates and they hide it somewhere in the house. So I have to find it before I can start my test. Really gets the blood pumping. The biggest thing though that I miss from real school is taking attendance. Because in person, the professor has a list and has to read down the names and everybody in the room has to pair your name with your face. Well, on Zoom, your name is on the screen all the time. And it makes people really cocky. They see my 4-letter, 2-syllable name and then just go for it. Kyra. And then they just keep talking. And what am I gonna do? Unmute myself and try and correct them? No. What I am going to do is turn off my video, go into my Zoom settings, and change my name to a phonetic spelling of it, Starbucks barista style. So it's October, it's the season of spook, and I've been thinking about fears lately. When people say they aren't afraid of the dark, they're lying, because if you're afraid of anything, you're afraid of the dark. Like nobody ever asks you if you want to do brunch in a horror movie. And nobody feels like a failure driving down the street on a sunny day. No, you feel like a failure driving down the street and it's 2 a.m. and you haven't been to the eye doctor in 5 years, so your glasses prescription is too weak, so you have to turn off the music just to see anything. Or when you're in the shower and there's a spider on the ceiling. I'm not afraid of that spider when I'm staring right at it, making sure it doesn't move. Things are good, I know where it is. I'm afraid of that spider when I get shampoo in my eyes and can't see a goddamn thing. That spider could be anywhere. So I've been watching this new show. It's actually been around for a while, but I've just been really getting into it because it's one of those choose your own adventure shows where they give you some context, like some characters and a setting, and then you can use your imagination and turn it into a comedy or a drama, whatever you're feeling. It's called House Hunters. It's on HGTV. And my favorite thing about this show is this line. It's in almost every episode where they walk into a room and they say, I can just picture myself sitting here, drinking a cup of coffee. And when it's a single mother of 4, under no circumstance is she sitting there peacefully in the morning, drinking a cup of coffee. No, that woman drinks her coffee in the car with her kids on the way to school. She's got her coffee in one hand, her phone writing an email for work in the other, and she's steering with her knee. There's some really fun variations on that line that I like too. Like when a couple walks in and says, I can just see our friends here drinking mimosas in this room. Because that happens one day of the year. The other 364 days, those two are alone, drinking cheap vodka, screaming at each other, threatening to call divorce lawyers. That makes House Hunters actually a really deep show. Really, its underlying meaning is that we are all liars. And if that's not the truth, then my name isn't Kyra. Thank you, guys.
Give it up one more time for Kyra, everybody. No, but for real, thank you, Kira. Coming up next, we have our freshman performing for the very first time. I'm sorry that it has to be under these circumstances. Coming all the way from Texas, please welcome Ellie Rose.
Hey guys, thank you all so much. I just want to start by saying I'm so very sorry. Not because the set is going to be bad. I make no apologies for that. Rather, I'm going to apologize for something I did on December 31st of 2019 that impacts all of you. I think a lot of things are about to make sense. You see, I really love the 1920s. I love like Flappers, The Great Gatsby, and I kind of made a wish under a shooting star that 2020 would be just like 1920. And I did not understand the full implications of that. My bad. I did not intend for a global pandemic to make a comeback, nor civil unrest, and nor crushing capitalism. Whoopsie. I honestly just wanted flat chests to make a comeback. So far, that's the one thing that hasn't happened. I'll keep y'all posted. My TikToks haven't gotten any more views, but TBD. One thing about 2020 that's really weird is being a freshman and introducing yourself. Because how could introductions get any worse? You put them on Zoom. No one knows who's next. You never know what to say. And for me, being from Texas, where I'm from isn't as cool as y'all people. Like, some of y'all are from Brooklyn, and you're like, oh, I'm from the apartment where Bernie Sanders was born. And some of y'all are from, like, Taylor Swift's nostril or something important. And then when the circle gets to me, I just have to be like, did y'all ever read that article about the Trump boat parade where all the boats sank? That's where I'm from. There's not much to say other than that. But the one interesting thing is, although you can watch Coachella from your house, I can watch flailing boats from my house. And let me tell you, it was not divine intervention, but rather divine stupidity. Because Texans for Trump wanted to protest social distancing, and they could not use an arena due to social distancing. And because in this universe, every man, woman, and child has a government-provided boat, they decided to all get out on the lake and protest. Interesting thing about the word lake. If you are from Michigan, you are cooler than me, and your definition of lake is invalid for this story. I went to a high school that was colloquially known as Puddle Travis High School. Very small lake. So all of these boats are out on Puddle Travis, and they decide to sing a song to President Trump from his humble penthouse by putting all their motors on at once. And it sounded a little something like, and there were 10-foot waves and all the boats sank, and water rescue was the busiest they have ever been, reportedly. And because I'm a snarky person, and I have to convince you that I'm a good person because I'm from Texas, sadly, I just have to say, I think the entire thing was a bit overblown because, you know, the flu kills far more people every year than drowning. In fact, if you look at the death records for drowning, a lot of people already have pre-existing conditions. And so that's why I'm not going to be wearing a life vest on my Puddle Travis. In fact, I'm going to be getting offended if you decide to wear one as well. So that's my hometown. There's not much to do other than get COVID, so I've been watching a lot of Jeopardy. Is anyone a psych major and can help me out with this question I've been having? Your degree finally has a purpose for this question. Do you think that Alex Trebek has a God complex? No, hear me out. So every point in the episode, there's like, no one has the answer, and the timer is going, boo, 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 boo. And Alex Trebek looks like some disappointed karate master from a 1970s movie. Like, you squandered your gifts. And on the inside, he's probably like, you idiots! Why did you know the answer? And so he looks at them with disappointed dad eyes, and he says, who was Captain Louis Archibald? And you're like, Alex, calm down. Mr. King Trebek, calm down. They do not have the answers. You have always had the answers. In fact, I'd love to see Alex Trebek be a contestant on Jeopardy because he'd probably do this. Boop, boop. Okay, it's blank here. There's nothing for me to read. This isn't a reading competition. This is a trivia competition. Who was Captain Louis Archibald? I'm sorry, sir. The answer is who was Charlie D'Amelio? I love watching Jeopardy with my dad, and all virtual freshmen know they're getting to know their parents a lot better these days. I really love my dad. He's a great person. I'm pretty sure he's an alien. And I don't say this because he's unrelatable. I say this because I know for a fact that I'm a half alien, and my mom has to be the human one because she can match her socks and her shoes naturally. Like, I'll be walking out the door and my mom will be like, Ellie Rose, are those knee highs and sneakers? I'm like, I don't know, Mom, I don't know how to measure length with my eyes. I just can't. And so my dad has taught me how to use some natural human functions. One thing we love to do together is make lists on what occurs naturally to other people. Because to my dad, nothing says you're human like a 2-page document on how to be a father. My dad really didn't know what to do when he had to raise this like half-human daughter. He was like, oh gosh, they don't come knowing how to read. Like this was a ripoff. But he did his research. He tried his best. He went on PubMed. He found some experiences that were going to like be correlated with a lower probability of me being a teen mom one day. And he went through them, but he didn't really understand the point of each experience. For example, take daughter to water park. There's this water park in Texas called Schlitterbahn. It's about 60 miles from my house. In 5-year-old time, that's 3 Barney movies. In line for the first ride, I scraped my toe. He's like, oh gosh, she's injured. He gets me in the car and we drive home. There was no water in that water park that I saw that day. We were not there for more than 15 minutes probably. And I watched the Barney movie 6 times for that. But nevertheless, that night, my dad opened his journal and he placed a check mark next to take daughter to water park. Good job, Paul. Good job. Good job. Another time, I thought my dad was going through some sort of mania because he kept buying fishing rods and we were going fishing every weekend. That's right, Paul the accountant suddenly enjoyed fishing. It sounds as strange as it is because it's strange. And fishing in Texas is a bit of a misnomer because there are no fish involved for a lot of the time, or water for that matter. I personally called it don't ask dad questions for 3 hours. But finally, after about a year, I caught this tiny little silver fish. Don't ask me what kind, I have no idea. I was so excited. I showed it to my dad. It's like, are we gonna eat it? Nope. He threw it back in the water. He got me in the car. We drove home and we've never gone fishing since. Ever. And I'm sure that my dad is so proud of himself because since he took his daughter fishing, she got into Johns Hopkins. There's a direct correlation for him, for some reason. On New Year's Eve last year, my dad took me out to look at the sky. And I was really expecting, I was prepared for like a 15-minute timer to go off, but nothing happened. And he seemed to be really in his zone, looking at his home planet. And I was like, gosh, this is what you enjoy doing? I'm really glad he made the list now, because if this was my childhood, I would not be having fun. Nevertheless, we didn't really have a good time together that night. And it was under that shooting star that I wish that 2020 would be just like 1920. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Ellie. All right, we have 2 comedians left. Our next comedian is coming to you all the way from East University Parkway. Please give it up for Harry.
Hello. All right, what's up, guys? It's cis white male time. So I already know what you're thinking. I look like I'm a Starbucks barista. Or maybe you're thinking I look like I'm one of Mumford's sons. But you're definitely thinking that I make lo-fi indie music. So as you can imagine, I got bullied in middle school. But I mean, everyone in middle school got bullied. Like the nerdy kids, the poor kids, the kids that had rolling backpacks. All right, well, they still get bullied. But I mean, middle school was brutal. But there was one group that didn't get bullied at all that probably should have, and those are the peanut allergy kids. These kids were the reason I couldn't have my Nutter Butters in class. These kids had to get their own stupid loser table in the cafeteria. They sat at a table that said nut-free zone, and we did nothing about that. Yeah, so do you guys watch TikTok? Have you ever seen TikTok doctors, you know, the ones in scrubs that'll just finish up an 8-hour surgery and their first instinct is to go like record a TikTok? You know, I think TikTok doctors are fun and all until you actually have one treating you. They'll just walk into a room and be like, hey guys, so what do I have for you today? This is Lori. She's a 46-year-old female with hypertension, cardiac arrhythmia, and wait for it, lung cancer. Do you want to tell TikTok what stage cancer you have, Lori? I have stage three lung cancer. Ouch. And tell us why you think you got lung cancer. Well, I've been a smoker for about, can you say that again for the camera? You know, I'm going to need a little more enthusiasm from you, Lori. Well, I've been smoking for about 27 years. Oh, that is rough. And that's why you shouldn't smoke, TikTok, or else you're going to end up like Lori. Make sure to like and follow to see how Lori's doing after this round of chemo. Do it with me, Lori. Here's a TikTok doctor telling a family that their son just died. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I have some unfortunate news for you today. We tried to give your son a heart transplant. And after 5 hours of surgery, we were unsuccessful and he passed away. I'm really, really sorry for your loss. Our office will send you the bill. Yeah, so I had to go to the bank for my own medical expenses at one point. I pulled up to the drive-through and this lady goes, "Welcome to Santander. My name is Augustina." I was like, "All right, thanks, Augustus," but it's pronounced Santander. She says, "That's incorrect. It's Santander. It's a Spanish bank." Lady, look, I have $15 in my savings account. This bank is called fucking Santander. Seems to me like every couple of months, someone gets caught at airport security for terrorism, which in 2020 is crazy to me, since if I snuck a White Claw through TSA last year, then it shouldn't be too much harder to bring something more dangerous. It's also crazy that the terrorist groups haven't realized that they can just recruit people who already have TSA pre-check. You know, I think TSA pre-check is more like TSA cup check because they always give me a pat down every single time, and that hurts. It turns out when you try and address the problem and you actually wear a cup to TSA, they take you to a room and they interrogate you for 3 hours. I was walking outside and I saw someone with a mask that they had cut into like several vertical flaps. So it looked like some kind of like Hawaiian hula skirt or like a pom-pom. I mean, what are you doing? This is a pandemic. This isn't fucking Coachella. Speaking of useless things, I'm getting really sick of being the Windows Vista of my family. My mom is like Windows XP. She's, you know, reliable and popular. My dad is like Windows 95. He's old, but he gets the job done. With Windows Vista, they made it. They realized they fucked up, and then they made another one real quick. And that's why my little brother is Windows 7. You guys ever find a YouTube channel that you really like? There's this channel on YouTube I like. They have like 20 cats in their backyard, and I just think it's like the greatest thing ever. But then I kept looking, and I found out that they really hate Jewish people. I mean, come on, that's no way to raise a cat. I think I adopted an anti-Semitic cat myself from a shelter. You know, for my cat, I put out milk in one bowl and chicken in the other bowl, and she insisted on mixing the two before eating them. She would also keep changing the TV channel to NASCAR. And sometimes she would even bury herself in my white bed sheets and poke 2 holes out for her eyes, which I guess explains why she would only respond to Ku Klux Cat. That's all my jokes. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Harry. Thank you so much. All right, our final comedian for the night is coming all the way from the historic and pothole-ridden St. Paul Street. Please get up for Ariella.
Thank you. Amani, I think you need to keep track. I'm pretty sure there was another robbery today. So that's the most important thing about us right now. But hello, everyone. I hope that you are all doing well on this Friday night. My name is Ariella, and all that you need to know about me is that I am a senior and I'm a humanities major. So when there are technical difficulties during my set, please blame my arts and sciences education because it was all arts and no sciences. I realize I'm the last one performing tonight, which means I'm the one you're most likely to remember. So in order to take advantage of this opportunity, this is my LinkedIn profile. Please note I am a graduating senior currently looking for a job. I do realize it's backwards, and I can say that 100% reflects my ability to do well at whatever you ask me to do. Anyway, you've heard from a lot of talented, hilarious, sexy performers so far. I can guarantee that I will keep up the trend by being at least one of those things. You can decide which one after we're done. Some of you might recognize me from your Zoom classes as the girl who turns her camera on, realized it wasn't supposed to be on and she's still in bed without a bra, and is then represented by a blank box for the rest of the class. Don't really have a defense, it's just my true form. I'd like to take this moment to say hi to my mom and dad who are in the audience tonight. Hey. Okay, glad we got that over with. They're not actually in the audience. I sent them this Zoom link 5 minutes ago. It's the perfect amount of time to invite them here without really wanting them to show up. And if this link is spontaneously broken tomorrow, I'm not gonna have to deal with it until Thanksgiving. So this is my first stand-up performance in 6 months, discounting the time over the summer that my best friend got married and asked me to perform. Don't worry, I was extremely respectful. I didn't mention the fact that I'd made fun of her fiance in 4 previous stand-up sets. And I think I did pretty well. I only made one person cry, myself, because I was the only single one at the wedding. So happy Halloween, everyone. As you can see, I'm festively dressed up in my costume. I shouldn't need to explain, but just to clear it up, I am a green bean. You might notice I'm neither green nor a bean, and that's because my roommate told me I had to dress up as one. I thought it was stupid, but she pays the electricity bill, so it was either dress like a green bean or eat nothing but cans for the next 6 months. Fortunately, she is colorblind and can't tell her legumes apart, or her species. I did consider dressing up as other types of beans, but none of them quite fit. I refused to do black bean face. I had wanted to be a red bean, but the Washington football team kind of made it taboo. And I also considered being a black-eyed bean, but unfortunately Fergie was not available. Also, it was a bit 2000 and late. Anyway, how is that Halloween spirit treating everyone? I'm really excited because I usually didn't get Halloween at home. When I was younger, my dad never let us go out. His reasoning was that Halloween is a day rooted in anti-Semitism. I didn't get that, and I told him, Dad, we're in America. Every day is a day rooted in anti-Semitism. Part of the reason we didn't need to do Halloween was that the Jewish holiday calendar is designed to avoid it. If you want a holiday to dress up and eat candy, wait 6 months and you've got Purim, which is just Halloween in March. We avoided genocide, so let's just eat a shit ton of candy to celebrate. If you want a holiday to throw up all of that food you just ate, wait another month and you've got Passover, which is just the hangover from Halloween, except it comes out the other end. So I never got to experience a real Halloween in my childhood. If I wanted to look festive for the holiday, I had to hope for spontaneous nosebleeds while wearing a white shirt. And forget jack-o'-lanterns. If I wanted pumpkin seasoning, my best chance was to snort a spiced Yankee candle. Thinking back, that might have been what caused all the nosebleeds. I will say my dad finally changed his mind and let me go trick-or-treating for real. I don't think it had anything to do with the fact that I was 18 and threatening to secede from the family if he didn't let me. But yes, I was a legal adult when I finally got to experience the joy of walking down a freezing cold street and having strangers not open their doors because you look too old is joy. Anyway, I can't wait to meet Santa for the first time when I'm 25. Everyone this year, though, is all upset because Halloween's not quite the same as normal. We're all stuck at home, drinking alone, dressed in our onesies, watching Halloween Town on repeat. I don't get why people are sad, because that's a pretty normal night for me. Plus, I can guarantee that the party in your Club Penguin Igloo will be more fun than a frat party anyway. And you're more likely to get in, too. Now, freshmen, you're not going to understand this next one, so please feel free to take a bathroom break. One of my least favorite parts of the pandemic is that I'm banned from my one true home, the esteemed Brody Learning Commons. There's so many special things about it that I'll just never get to do again. Ordering an overpriced coffee and throwing it straight into the trash, going to every single floor, trying to find an empty bathroom so you can poop in peace. And the classic, the one that seems to be an induction from girlhood to womanhood. Sitting on M level with a group of girls at a table, waiting for midnight, the moment that every girl in the library joins the hive mind. The alarms go off, they reach into their bags, and they all take their birth control. I've never quite understood birth control. It seems like half the girls I know take it, which should make sense. We're in college, everyone's hooking up. It really should make sense, and maybe at other schools that is what people do. But at Hopkins, it's kind of an endangered species. I don't think I know any girls who take birth control to control any possible birthing. That being said, I'm one of the few girls who is not on birth control. So that's why when my period decided to come late last month, I began to freak out a little. I was worried, because clearly she was just on vacation, which should be okay. It's COVID, I want her to stay 6 feet away too. But my automatic assumption was just that I was the next Virgin Mary, and that was really hard to reconcile because this was happening on Yom Kippur. My mom, though, had an opposite reaction. When I told her that my period was missing in action, she didn't think I was the next bearer of the Messiah. She never had quite had faith in me. Instead, she put everything down, looked me in the eye, and said, "You're pregnant, aren't you?" And that kind of amazed me, because let me tell you, I do not have game during a normal year. I'm the kind of person who opens Tinder, sees the person I have a crush on, instead of swiping right like a normal person, throws my phone across the room and just considers setting it on fire. But right now, Mom, you think I'm pregnant now? Wow, I've been living at home. I haven't left my room in the last 6 months except to go downstairs at 3 in the morning to heat up pizza rolls. And you know I'm not good at maintaining virtual relationships. The people I text the most are the swing voters who live in Pennsylvania. Plus, I don't know why my mom would assume pregnancy. I'm a bisexual woman, which means a lot of things for a lot of people. But for me, it means that I fall in love with 90% of women and cry about the fact that I'm still attracted to men. It also means that I can be found on everyone's Hinge. So if you are currently in the Charles Village area and you like the looks of this, let me just say, please hit me up. I will probably not respond to you, but I might consider it. And I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff underneath this blanket onesie. You're not going to see it because I'm cold 100% of the time, but it is there. Well, like I said before, I've got a big night ahead of me. Huge party over in my igloo at Club Penguin. Bring your J card and I just might let you in. Maybe. It depends on if my puffles say they know you. Thanks so much.
Give it up one more time for Ariella. Okay, that is the end of our show. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in both in this call and on YouTube Live. We'll have another show sometime down the line. But yeah, if you want to see more of our shows, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and our Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok are all at StandUpJHU. And that is it. So now everybody can go ahead